The date is May 15th, 1995. The survivor is Dina Trachtenberg. Interviewer Karen Leeds in New York City, New York, in English.
Karen, what is it with you?
Okay. State your name, please.
My name is Dina Trachtenberg.
Can you spell Trachtenberg for me?
Yes, so many years, of course, I do. Trachtenberg.
And your date of birth?
October 3, 1932, with a big question mark.
And your place of birth?
My place of birth was Breslau, Germany, and I was the only child.
Your mother's and father's names?
My father is Joseph, R-O-M, Rom, and my mother was, she had two names, but exactly I don't remember. I know the first one was Anna, and then something like Tonya, and her last name was Frisch, F-R-I-C-H, Frisch. So.
And where did you live with them?
I lived in Breslau, yeah. You know, I had so many people taking care of me that if you ask me, can you visualize your mother, father, I just don't. I was very,
Do you remember was it a house or an apartment where you lived?
I don't know. We lived in so many places. I remember summertime we went to the ocean with the beautiful white sands, and I remember we always went somewhere. And, but I do not remember my parents, unfortunately.
Did you remember that you were Jewish?
Yes, yes, yes. Because my babysitter always told me, you know. My babysitter actually saved me.
What was your babysitter's name?
Her name was Yaja. She was young. And I remember once, of course, I saw the Gestapo, not Gestapo, the SS with black uniform with the swastika.
How old were you at this time?
You see, it was in 1939, because this was, you know, this was this. And I remember...
Do you remember any happy times just playing with friends?
I remember, yes, I remember that I had beautiful blocks. It's like a palace, red and blue, and we built it. And I remember in wintertime, my Nyanya came in, took me on a sled with a beautiful blanket, warm. And I remember I had a white fur, like a rabbit with the head, with a muff, and a white shoes, but it was, I had the shoes, and in the shoes I had a rubber like a shoes. So I remember this, and I remember a lady used to come into us, and she knitted for me pantyhose with different colors, wool.
Did you have a favorite doll?
Yes, I had a few dolls. I had one doll that was made out of cloth, and would you believe I had a black doll? Yes.
From where?
I have no idea. I had a black doll. It was not made out of material, but it was like a plaster, beautiful black doll.
Like porcelain?
No, it was, you could touch it. It was not a porcelain. It was very strong, very strong. So this I had it.
Do you remember any grandparents?
No.
Any other relatives at all? Do you remember any of your friends' names? Any little girls or boys that you played with?
Absolutely none. You see, we were moving about so often that I just remember, you know, the smell of the apartment, and my clothes used to smell so good.
What was the apartment smell like? What did it smell like?
It's like a bouquet of flowers. My clothes, every piece of clothes that I had to put on had a specific smell. It's unbelievable. To this day, my son gives me all the beautiful smells. I'm very affected by smell and the aromas.
In your apartment?
I don't remember. Oh yes, I do remember. We had a big, like a standing oven, and the oven was made like of ceramic tiles, and it's so beautiful. It was white with all the design. And when we came out from outside, so we had to go in, and it was so warm. It was such a pleasant, yeah. And then I remember that that we had to have two breakfasts. Number one breakfast, and then around after this breakfast, before lunch, we had another breakfast. So this was like a cocoa. It smelled so beautiful, and a pastry. The pastry was extraordinary. It was very chocolate. I am a chocolate eater. So this was the only thing that I was waiting for breakfast, not the other things. But this I remember, and I remember holidays, the smell of the food. And I remember in winter we had big oranges with a very thick skin. So instead of eating the orange, I liked the skin, so I gave to Yaja the orange. I peeled the skin and I liked the skin.
You ate the skin?
Yeah, I loved it. When you twist it, it has such a fine aroma. My whole mouth was full of smell, delicious smell. And
what were the holidays like?
The holidays had many people with children, and it was it was inside, never outside. I don't know why, never outside.
With children, you said?
Yes, quite a few children came in, and we were eating all the fruits. We had, I remember, a dry fruit. It was like it calls boxer. It's a very hot, has a pit inside. This was for specific holidays. I think just in winter time you get this, for the holiday. This I would remember.
Any other holidays that you remember?
Just the smell of the food, the preparation. In the springtime, the preparation of the cleanliness. It was so clean that whenever I wanted to step on the floor, the lady that took the cleaner, she always frightened me that somebody is going to, scare me. Maybe I'm afraid of the dark now, because she said to me, I'm not allowed to go. I'm not allowed to walk on the floor. It was shiny. It was so.
Did your mother cook, or did someone else cook?
I don't recall this. No, I don't recall that. I know we had people coming in to do the wash. In those days, you had to wash like this, I think.
And where did they wash?
Yeah, it was a special place.
Did they take the clothes out? Or
No,
did they do it in the house?
no, they did it in the house. It was
it a big
yeah,
house?
It was a big house. I remember that when my Yaja, when the SS, SS I recognize because SS used to wear black with the yellow, and they had a red swastika on.
Did you see them when you were with your parents, or just with Yaja?
Just when I was when she took me out for walk, and then when I came back, to take me home, so I saw people on the street with their hands up. My parents were there.
Your parents were there? What did your parents do? What did your father do? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
Do you remember the smell of your mother? What did she smell like?
A wonderful thing, beautiful song.
And your father, did he smoke? Did he smell like smoke?
No,
Or
my
coffee?
father, I remember my father took me on his back.
Did he hold your hands?
Yes,
Was he a big man?
he was pretty tall. My mother was a very tiny person. Yeah.
What was Yaja like?
She was very nice.
What did she look like?
She was blonde, she was pretty heavy. And she told me that she will save me. And she will send me far away from this place. And
Do you remember where you were going with her?
we went on a train, far away on the train.
On that day, what were you wearing when you went out with Yaja? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I have specific memory of that white furry coat with a muff and a hat and the shoes and the pantyhose. It was knitted. Every winter I had a different, and glove I have to with one finger with all the round things.
Do you remember where you were going with Yaja? Just for a walk, or?
No, she told me she's going to take me by train far away in the country. And she said, I'll be, I didn't cry at that time. I was so quiet. She told me to be quiet, but one thing I remember, she told me I have to go to, for one night to a church. It was a wooden church, small church, and she will pick me up in the morning. And she said I shouldn't be afraid, no one would know. I went to the church, and I was so frightened. I couldn't breathe. I was stiff. And I don't know how long it took. It was dark, but that's why I could never stay in the dark room. I have to have lights everywhere, even now that I'm a grown-up person.
Okay, before we continue, let's go back. So that day when you left the house with Yaja, and then you came back?
No,
and you saw your parents outside, so you never went back?
I never went back, yeah.
So do you remember where you were going with Yaja before you saw your parents like that?
No, I saw my parents, and then she took me immediately, and I looked at many people.
So you never went back to the house?
No, and this was not only my parents, many people with hands up, And then Yaja said she's going to take me far away, and she said, but first I have to stay in the church. Okay. It was a wooden church. It was, I don't know where it was, but a very wide avenue with all the trees, and this was a very small church, wooden church. She said, I'll be safe there. No one will come, no one will know. And she took me there, and she said I should stay there.
What did it smell like?
It was very cold. I didn't like the smell. No, I didn't like the smell, but I was so quiet. I sat and I didn't even close my eyes. I just sat but I did picture my parents, my mother and father with their heads up, and many people, and I saw with the black uniform, with the red swastika and boots, and I saw them, and I was so shocked, and I was quiet. I was very stiff. I was not afraid, but the smell of that place was very, very, very cold, very windy. Finally, Yaja came in, and she took me out, and she told me that we are going to by train far, far away. Nobody would recognize me, nobody would know me, and I'll be safe. And some people would take care of me there. So for a long time, I don't know how long we were traveling on the train. Many people were there, we were quiet. And she brought me to a place that is not far from, it's called Lublin. It was deep Poland, Lublin, big city. And then somebody came in with a horse and buggy and took us. And she left me. There was a lady and a man. The lady, brothers and sisters they were. The lady had a wooden leg, and she needed somebody. They had 2 cows. And her brother had like a hunchback, very short, but very nice people. And the Yaja told them something, that I have to be here until somebody come and get me. And she said, I don't remember the name of the people. And she says to me that I'll take care of the 2 cows. They had 1 cow, brown, with 1 horn up and 1 horn down. This cow was giving milk, and they had a younger cow that did not give any milk. She was black with a little star, and her horn was like this. So she took me to the cow. I never saw a cow. I saw a cow on a picture, and then I went to the cow. I was very, very watch out. And she told me that I would have to take the 2 cows with a big rope, and she told me where, and I have to go feed them. So I went to the cow, and while the cow was standing, my cow, the brown cow, had such a long, thin neck, and I was touching her. It was unbelievable. And this cow, she liked me. She was licking me. The tongue was so sharp. But she licked me everywhere, and I didn't mind. Her nose was very wet and moist, and her tongue was so sharp, but I didn't mind. I was hanging on her neck. The other cow, the younger cow, didn't like me. She wanted to hit me, go inside. I was far away from this cow. I took the cows to the pasture, but I don't remember. I didn't have shoes anymore. I had like wooden slippers.
Clogs?
Yeah, clogs. So they told me where to go. This man took me there. And it was a big field, only with the grass and a little bit like a stream passing by. So he told me that the cows has to eat, both of them, and what I did, I had a piece of wood and I put the rope, so the cows shouldn't run away, and the other one here, and they should eat. With the tongue I looked left and right. I sat down and I look how they eat. Then quite a few hours, and I said to myself, this is late already, I should take them home. While they were eating, on the stream I found, like a rhubarb, big leaves. So I took this, I make believe that's my umbrella. I was, childish, but I was occupied. I took this and I was going here and I wanted to tell somebody something. So I came to the cow. The other cow didn't like me. Then what happened, I said, I have to take them home because it's about at least 1 hour walk. So the fields. And other people were taking care of the cows, the other one, but I did not know them from the beginning. I brought them home and I said to them, the cows, this is finished, they didn't want to eat. So the lady sat down me, she says, the cows have to be on the field all day. Early in the morning before the sun comes up, and when the sun goes down, you bring the cows. And she showed me a cow has on both sides, she had a indentation. It's like a half moon indentation. And she says to me, when this indentation is blowing up, the cow, at that time, the cow is going to lie down and it will not eat. But until then, you just look at it and you see it. So the next day I went in, she gave me food, I took the food, and I took her, and I said to myself, how come the cow is going to be like this when the grass is just so? Across the road, I saw a big, like a cliff, it's like the fog cliff lover. I said to myself, maybe they'll eat this. I went in, I brought them, and I gave them to eat here. They loved it. It was like a purple flower, and they ate. And after a few hours, I see the cow are getting very, very fat, and the saliva was coming from the cow's mouth. And the man on the buggy was going, he says to me, what have you done? The cows, quickly, they have to be taken care of it. They are going to bust. I said, oh my God, what have I done with the cow? Quickly, the man helped me. We took them, and somebody came in, and they had to put a needle or something in on both sides, and they had to cover them with a blanket. I said, oh my God, they're going to throw me out. What have I done? I didn't realize that they're not allowed to eat this. And so, then I went to my cow that night, and I was gladding, and I was apologizing. Then the cow was licking me. I said, please forgive me. And the cow was licking me. I wanted the cow to save her. Then in a few days, the cow was getting down, both of them. The other one, I don't think her because she didn't like me anyway. She was like my enemy. Okay, this lady explained to me that I have to stay there all day. Then one day, just before I was supposed to take the cows, the people, they had a farm, very small house, they had only chicken and geese. And the geese hated me. Every time I went, the geese were run after me. I said, why do they hate my white, beautiful geese? They ran after me, and they wanted to bite me. I told the lady, I said, please, I cannot go out. The geese, they hate me. They don't love me. One day, before I took the cow early in the morning, usually they had like a stream around the house, and the stream they had like a piece of wood that you could go from this place to the other, and there was a village. It was a big hill. So I said to myself, well, I'm going out, I don't want to stay here, I want to go out, I want to be free. I didn't talk to anybody, just I talked to myself inside. And I went and I passed the piece of wood and I passed this stream. I wanted to go out, and I see German soldiers. Quickly, I turned around, and usually the German soldiers came in. The lady told me later to get eggs, to get chicken, you know, from the farmers. So when I saw them with the, you know, with the helmet, with the green, they were not Gestapo, they are not SS, they were regular soldier with the boots. So quickly I turned around and I fell into that stream. And that, it was still my knees. But what happened, the leeches clung to my legs, and they were so black, and you couldn't touch them. Until they had, I came running to the house, and I said, look, the bugs are going to eat me up. She says, no, stand still until they finish with the blood. They will fall down, and I didn't like them. They were so slimy. They were so my both legs. Oh, I couldn't take it. Finally, they fell off. Never again I went to that stream. I said I prefer to go already to my department to take care of the cows. And there I had my games. There were flowers. I was making different kind of, you know, for the earrings, and for my head I was getting dressed, and I was in it, and I had the umbrella. I was walking. Then finally I found out there was such a green leaves were growing. It was sour leaf. That was my lunch, and I was eating. Well, you could eat. You were not sick on that.
How did you learn to do all the?
No, I just make that mishmash, you know, and I put it. I had those my head, and I made it all with the flowers. I made all the things, and I had a bracelet, and it was so childish. But I was occupied. And I don't know for how long I stayed there, for many months. It was winter. Winter we didn't take the cows to eat, no. Winter they had a hay, so I went in. This I loved, the winter I loved it. I went in and I sat with them, and I was feeding, and I was going. The cow was just like my mother. I felt so warm with the cow. Although the tongue was so sharp, but it was such a wonderful feeling. I felt so safe. Although the lady with the food and the men, they were very nice to me. We didn't see any men. The men were running away into the forest. Only, you know, people like children and people that were not 100% normal, let's say, they stayed there. And quite often the soldiers came in. Oh, this is very important. The cow had like a gold clip. I said, why did you put the clip? It's so painful. So the lady said to me that everything that is alive has to be registered. The Germans will somehow come and collect on contingent. So right now they have only 2 cows. Other people had many. And they came in to take the geese and to take the potatoes and the eggs. I went in and I collect the eggs. And of course, when the chicken was sitting, you couldn't come close to her. She wanted to bite you. You had to wait. The eggs were so warm, we have to collect, you know, have to bring in the eggs. And they had to count, everything had to count. And milk, when she milked the cow, everything had to be put away for the soldiers, for the German soldiers. So we had some left, but I remember I did eat well. I have no idea why I slept in that little house.
What did you wear?
Well, she gave me all the, you know, long schmattes, let's say, rags. And I remember when they were finishing with the fields, you know, they had like collect the for the like, you know, the weeds are growing, so they had to cut it. The farmers, they did this. And then after that, we had to go in. And I remember I didn't have any shoes, and this was so sharp, you know. So I put a few rags, you know, where I was walking. The other kids that were, you know, they knew how to. I was different. I was from the city, and I spoke differently. And they were from the town. They spoke completely different. In winter, the girls were doing. They collected like land, you know, to make like cotton, and they had the wheels, and they did this. I was looking at them, very young girls. They were doing. I did it once. It came lumpy, but I did it. I wanted to be with them, and I did it, with them. I worked with them also in winter. Then they collected apples and had big ovens, and they, dry it, and they made dry apples. We ate this. And I remember potatoes were good. And I remember I had to make butter. Click, click, click. Oh, the smell of the butter was so good. But the butter was not for the farmers. They had to collect. But we drank the water from the butter, it was so delicious. It was buttermilk. It was very light greenish yellow. It was not like here you buy buttermilk. But the smell was good. Yeah, I remember it with my finger. We had to do it, yeah. And the lady baked the bread, round bread with the leaf on the bottom. She with it, also for the Germans and for us. So I remember the fresh bread was so good. And all the time I prayed that the bread shouldn't come out good, so the German wouldn't take it. And when the bread did not come out good, it was around like it was not finished baking. I like that, It was for
Doughy.
us, yeah, very gooey, yeah. Oh, I don't know how long it was, but then a lady came in for me, and the lady said to me that I have to leave. I didn't want to leave. I felt safe. With the cow, I felt so safe. It was so good.
What's the cow's name? Did you give it a name?
I forgot, but I did give her something because she had like a heart white, and she was light brown, and one horn up, one down. When she was young, she was fighting, so the horn went down. She was mine. I loved her so, And with the neck, unbelievable, such a, it was very long and very thin. How could, and I loved the neck, and I was playing with the neck hanging, and swaying, and she licked me. I gave her my head to lick, not my face, because it was so sharp needle, yet her face was very soft, the nostril moist and soft, and the tongue was very sharp. I loved that cow so. Finally, a lady came in, big lady, not like Yaja, but older lady. I don't remember her name. Something with J. She came in and she whispered to the lady of the house that she has to take me. So she gave me like a small, that I have a few clothes on, and she gave me a package with the cheese and a few pieces of bread, and the lady took me. And a man came in with the buggy and horses, and we went to a big, big city. It called Lublin. This I remember, Polish. It was big, big city, and we had to go to a waiting place where many, many people, women with children, young, not too old, not too old. It was supposed to be a transport to go to Germany for work. And the lady told me, I marry your father, I am your stepmother. So I said, I was very polite. I said, oh, all right. I did never call her mother or nothing. And, we were traveling with the train many, many days. Oh, my God.
Okay. Continue. So she took you to Lublin.
Yes, and there was many, many people waiting. I don't know for how long, but we were waiting. We did receive food, and we were sitting somewhere in a big, big place. And one of the, I don't remember who came in, and they said, very soon we're going to go to Germany to work, work, Arbeit macht sich, this is it. And I was very happy. I was very happy, what can I do? The lady will take care of me. While we were there, we received such a aluminum dish with a fork. Oh, I received a little comb, I had it. Such a little comb I still have it somewhere. A little comb I had, and a spoon, and a fork. And this dish, as we went in, and we got our food, while we were waiting. Finally, we went on the transport. A train came in, and we were packed in, and the Germans were with dogs, but nothing happened to me, nothing, absolutely. We went inside, and the train whistled. We went deep, deep into many, many cities. We went deep, deep into Germany. And whistling. It was a day and night. Finally, we came to Germany. This called Schleswig-Holstein. It's a city. And we came out, and the men were separate, the women with children. We went to a big, big place, and we got undressed, and the women were shaven, everything, the children. We didn't have any hair here and there and everywhere. And they gave us towel and soap, and we went for showers. It was a true shower. And we washed ourselves, we came back, and they gave us blanket. I remember blanket cover was like checkers, blue checkers. This I remember, I like that blue color. We got a pillow, and we got a sheet, and we got a blanket and blanket cover, and we got a box with food. And they told us we have to go downstairs, many, many steps, and the women would be on the left with children. There were men on the right side, and they will let us know what are we going to do tomorrow.
How old are you?
You see, I don't remember the age, and I don't remember the years. This was just like. The next day, it was an appel, whistle, and all of us had to come in, stand up straight. It was outside, and it was few, I remember, it was two men, not in uniform. This I remember like today. One was very tall, his name was Fritz, and short German, Hans, and they had a German Shepherd. I loved animals, so I was never afraid of the animals. And a big Obermeister came in, and he spoke in German, blah, blah, blah. We had a translator, and the translator, I understood German. I had to be very careful because people that were Jewish somehow understood. We had quite a few people that were Jewish, but nobody talked about it. So they told us, and the lady had a job that it was a big, big factory. We had to go down. It was, first of all, it was called Lager Luisenberg. It was a Lager Luisenberg. We had to go in the morning. We got a cart, a white cart with the numbers, like Monday, Tuesday, And once in the evening, we had to go to a canteen, and they make a hole that you are going to get food. But I went with the lady to work. It was a big, big place full of windows, and there were like machines, 1, 2, 3, 4. The big one, smallest, and this was the smallest at the end. There was another lady with her daughter. I don't know if this was a true daughter, but this was her daughter. And there were 2 Italian men, engineers, and 1 German engineer from Kiel. And what did I supposed to do? I had a water pitcher, and I supposed to, around the window there was plants, all around plants. I had to take care of the plants to make sure that no yellow leaf will fall down. So I quickly put water. We had to wear they gave us like a pants in one piece. We were wearing that. And I took the water pitcher, and I went and I looked at the plants. Then I saw a beautiful 2 plants. It was in a box, one very tall leaves and one shorter. I picked this, and I stopped there, and I had a wonderful feeling. This was like my family, my father. Okay. Just to make sure that this plant was the best, taking care of it. And I was going, and I was spending, this was my morning. Then when I finished this, you could go very slowly, you didn't have to rush. And we had many times air raid coming in. We loved the air raid. The only thing what I didn't like about the air raid, that the German expel a very, very heavy smoke that you could choke yourself. So I already had a piece of cloth with the wet, and we had to run to a bunker. Right away, you heard the alarm. Ooh. We had to leave everything, and we had to run. But the smoke covered it up, so you exactly knew where to run. You went to the shortest bunker. But we went, there was about 10 feet away from the factory. It was a ladies' room, so we jumped in there, we stayed there, we were praying it should explode. We were not afraid, we wanted it should errate. The only thing we didn't want it at night, because at night we were disturbed. And during the day, usually when the beautiful day was, we had the air raid. And right away we come in, and the smell, that's why I can't tolerate any, now I realize I can't tolerate any heavy smell. I'm choking, so I cover myself. And it was dark, but by feeling we knew already. We came to the factory, I came in, we were not allowed to talk with nobody. Then when I finished with the plant, I had to collect waste basket. There was an office, and was the big chef, very tall with the boots, and he carried a piece of wood, but the wood was very flexible. At the end was like a piece of leather. And he was very nice. He was going like this, walking. He had to go. Then on the left side, we had a very old, short man, very nice. He had to look at the clocks. This was many clocks to regulate the machinery. So this was my job, that I went and collected basket. Here I went downstairs, upstairs, and I collected in a big, big basket. I threw it out. And then one day, in his office on the desk was a aluminum kidney basin, and it was open. And it was smell of a bread and butter was unbelievable. He had a beautiful paper, and I looked at it and I picked it up, I dusted up. I took out this and I put it back and I went around, I cleaned it up. I came back and I took the sandwich, I ate it up and I ran away. Shortly after, the guy that was working with the keys and everything, he called me up that the chef is calling me. I knew why, so I came in, I was so strong, now I'm crying before.
What was the chef's name?
I don't remember. I came very tall, he was very dark, not like a German, very dark. And he was walking with his shoes and doing this. He said, was passiert? I said, ich weiß nicht. What did it happen? I said, ich weiß nicht. And he was going, marsch, los. And he threw me out. The next day, it's a miracle that nothing ever bad happened to me. This old man that was taking care of the clocks, he called me up and he brought me every day a sandwich. It was unbelievable. I went to the plant, to my plant, and I said, I was celebrate with it, every day. It was unbelievable.
What kind of sandwich?
It was with butter and cheese and butter, and they said this was a horse salami. It's very sweet. We love it because we got in the camp. This was the most exciting thing. This I celebrated. And how I ate it, I ate it so simply. And I went to tell the plant, my mother and my father, they say, yeah. Then when I left the plant, my parents, I went to the little machine. This was like, I'm coming far away, And you had to get a dusting cloth with oil, and you had to go and you dust. And I was dusting the little machine. And then I went far away, then I had to go. It was so childish, but it gave me such a strength.
And where's the woman that brought you there?
She had to work. She had to go up on the big machine and dust it, and it was going very fast, very dangerous, very dangerous. And then downstairs they had to do many heavy things, the two women. The other girl and I, we were running up and down, we were dusting. We were waving, like we're not allowed to talk. We were winking to each other because, they were watching us. And they called me, the chef called me Kleine. All the Germans, they call me Kleine. Kleine means little one. I was pretty tall. Then this is what happened. Then what happened, when we go back to the camp, to the lager, then they took us out from downstairs. Only the men were downstairs on open spaces. We were in a new barracks, many, many women and children, with a wire, with that, we were locked in. When we came from work, we had to go to canteen. In the canteen, everything was a big, big lager Louisenberg. In the canteen, you get a piece of paper every week. This is what we got. Every week we got a piece of paper with Monday, Tuesday, and they punch. And then you go for the window, and they give you things. I always got it. I have to tell you that God was watching over me. It's a miracle. Always I got so much food, more than. And I came in and I looked at nobody, so I'm not eating. And then every week we got a portion. We gathered one loaf of white bread, and the other was a rye bread, and sometimes we got a very hard honey, and sometimes we got salami, horse salami. That was the sweetest, the best. So this is what we had it. So what do I do? There were two young girls in the barracks. We had, bunk beds. The older people on the bottom, the younger on top. We were climbing. So each time we got let's say Monday, we got the portions. So I had a knife. I made it. This would be for Monday, this Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. Counted, mark. But if there was a air raid, what do you think we took? We took the blanket, I took the piece of cloth and I took the food to eat. And if we had to stay long in the bunker. So we didn't want to lose, the bread, so we ate it, and sometime we finished up the whole thing. It was disaster because we didn't have it. But I was safe because I did get. Why do you think I ate it? Because I knew I get from the short guy. What was his name? Forgot his name.
And he was not the chef, not the boss.
No,
the other guy
was
the boss.
But the boss looked at me. He was very nice. When I saw him, I turned around. I went away. But he was very nice. He was the one that probably told him to give me the sandwich. And when we ate all these things, and then in a few hours, if this was only 1-2 hours, the air raid, we were saved. But it was sometimes every single night it was an air raid. Sometimes was very short, sometimes was for many, many hours. So we were very unhappy because we were eating, what we ate. Then it was my very good luck that I was sent to a kitchen to work. It was not for us. We had to eat in a canteen, different one. This was for the German people that are working in the factories. It was a torpedo factory, but it was a large place that each department had something else. So I was in the kitchen. They had a machine how to peel the potatoes and carrots. So then we had to. There were old people and few Germans from the town. And us, and there were two. One was Italian girl. Her name was Wilma, and she was from Trieste. She spoke to me Italian, that the Germans shouldn't hear it. So somehow I learned a little bit Italian, and we were, criticizing. And she says, "Now eat the carrot." While we were peeling, and we cover. Make believe we don't eat it. We had to. They shouldn't say no. Then there was a machine to wash the dishes, and sometimes, they didn't eat everything. So quickly, we ate it up. She and I, we washed the dishes. Machine washed the dishes, but before we had to put the dishes into machine, we had to clean up the food. So naturally, looks good. We ate it up. This was a wonderful, wonderful place for me to work in the kitchen. I don't know how long it was, but one day, it was a big bombardment. And while I was running, it was so fast, when we hear the siren, we have time because we know how to go. and I ran, and I fell in with my right hand, with my right foot, into the something that exploded wire, and I fell in, and my whole right leg, from the knee to the ankle, where the wire went in, and I fell in. I don't know what happened to me. After the error was finished, I found myself in a barrack that was for the sick people in the same Lager Luisenberg. And I was so sick, I developed high fever. And they didn't have any antibiotics. And I was so sick, I had pneumonia. And one of the lady came in, that was Schwester Maria, very nice, and Herr Schiller. He was like a doctor also. And he said my foot became so swollen. I was talking out of my mind. I said, ich kann nicht mehr aushalten, I cannot take anymore. I want to die. They said that I have to go to a bigger hospital because they have no facility. This was in the lager. But they have to find which lager I would go. While I was lying down, they put cold compress and hot compress for my lungs. I had pneumonia, I had severe infection, and they did give me a tablet, a red tablet, to take the temperature off. I don't know how long I stayed there. Then they took me to a hospital, small hospital. It called Eckenförde. It was the town of the Lager, Luisenberg. I stayed there. There was a young girl with her mother working in the kitchen. She was from Litzmannstadt. Litzmannstadt is Lodz. She found out that I came from the Lager, and she came into me. And I was afraid to be all by myself. So I asked her, they had a blue light for the night. I said, please, could you put the blue light for me? And she brought me food from the kitchen, and her name was Johanna. And she held my hand, and she said to me, I have to go to a very large hospital because they would have to amputate my leg. My leg was just like this, and the swelling already came to my stomach. I said, oh, I don't want, they should amputate my leg. She said, you will go to the biggest hospital in Schleswig-Holstein. An ambulance came in and took me. And I came into a very big hospital with a circle. I remember the ambulance came in a circle, a driveway, and with white apron came in to take me. And there was a very tall, dark, not black, but dark hair sister, Schwester Anna. And she came in, and they took me not to a lager. There was a lager, and there was a hospital for the Germans. So they put me first, And next to me there was a young girl, a German girl. Her name was Elke. She came in with burn all her hands from Hamburg. They were at that time they were throwing fire bombs, and she was completely burned, whole her body. And her mother came to visit her, and she brought her food, and she spoke to me. I was lying next to her, just temporary, because they had to do something with my leg. And she told her mother to give me something, and I was so happy. And she had a bad, both hands, and I had bad leg. What happened? They had to scrape my leg, my inside. I don't want to show it to you because. From one side, you could put a tongue depressor. Going to the other, it was like a zigzag. And a black pus was coming, and the smell was just unbelievable. And you know what kind of bandages they have? Paper bandages. So when they stuffed me with the powder and paper bandages, and it dried up. And when Schwester Anna came in with a cart to clean me up, I had my hands and I was, no, and she slapped me, and I slapped her back. It was unbelievable. So the next time, I knew every few days she would come in. Or they put a rubber tube that it should drain. I had so many with a safety pin, and each time they had to like irrigate. Don't ask. So next time I asked the Schwester Hanna, when are you coming? She said in Trachtenberg. Okay, so you know what I did? I prepare myself with a finger, loosen it up slowly, so she shouldn't yank out the bandage. So I loosen it up, everything loosen it up. When she came in, oh, she slapped me. That she said, what have I done? I said, nothing. It came by itself. She said, I'm not allowed to do it because my leg would fall apart. And it was so. Then, once in a blue moon, a doctor came in, very short doctor. They call him der Schwarze, but he was not a Negro, but dark. You know, in Germany everything is blonde, but it's very unusual. So when he came in, I said, oh, doctor, give me eine Spritze zu schlafen. Please, doctor, give me something to sleep. They took me to operating room to clean it up, and I didn't get anything. So I begged him, I said, I was holding his hands. Once in a while I did get an injection. Oh, it was so wonderful. I love this doctor. I was holding his hand. And at least once a month he came in. Then they said to me that my leg is subside with infection. I have to go to a lager on the same place in Schleswig-Holstein, but for the Ausländer, for the foreigners. Only German people are allowed to stay here. So the little girl, Elke, she said goodbye, and she said, my mutti will come to visit you. So they took me to a barrack, wooden bed, and my leg had to be like a wooden cradle up. And it was air raid. Everybody who could walk could go to the bunker. I couldn't go. I was left all by myself. And I wanted it should be already explosive and everything, but I couldn't. I was all by myself. I cried. I cried not with the tears, but I cried inside. And it was so many years, so many months. I said, when? And I said to myself, I gave myself a promise that when the war would be finished, I would not ask for any funny things. Just go to bed. And I give myself a promise I will never demand anything. Just a little bit soap and clean bed, white, like I remember when I had it with the laces and the pillows so fluffy. And piece of white bread with butter that smells so good. I would never, a chocolate, cacao, no, I would not want that. Just, and I want to tell everybody that it was a miracle that I survived. I wanted to shout it. I was so silent, I was so quiet, but I didn't want to be alone. I was always left alone. Finally, they took me to the Lager Luisenberg, because I was better, and I had bandages. I came to Lager Luisenberg, and I did not do anything. I was just, waiting, and my foot was much better, but heavy, I had the big socks, and I had to walk on crutches, which they gave it to me.
How old do you think you are now at this point?
Maybe 57. I am now about 57. Each time that, we're supposed to go somewhere, they change our. But I know in October I was born, October 3. It was just before the holidays, my holidays. Sometimes, why do I remember holidays like Yom Kippur? Because I was, the holidays, our very special holidays comes in.
So what?
So I know that I was in October 3, but the year, it's not important.
But how old are you when you're in the camp with the crutches?
Well, it was already close to the war finish. What happened? How did the war ended? This was an alarm. We had to run to the bunker, And sometimes the people took me because I couldn't run, so they brought a chair, and I sat down. We ran to the bunker, and this is how this happened. We stay in the bunker. We did not hear any explosion. We did not smell any smoke, So some people said, oh, this is something unusual, that nothing is. And the Germans didn't come with us to the bunker. Usually the Germans that watch us, freezing hands with dogs, they came in and they said, they jog around, oh, very soon we will be out, blah, blah, blah. And they did not come at that time. It was something unusual. So we were reminiscing, we were talking. What could it be? What could it be? Finally, somebody was trying to open the door. The door was not locked from outside and from inside. We went out, and the war was over.
What about that? Did you see that woman again that brought you to the camp?
No, that yes, she was with me all the time. The older woman, she was with me. She was in the bunker, and we came out. We came out, and the war was over. And a big truck came in, and on the truck was UNRWA, UNRWA. Oh.
Take 3. When you went to the hospital the first time after your leg was so severely wounded, did you hear from that woman that brought you to the camp at all?
She once in a blue moon she came to visit me.
How did she get there?
She had permission from the Lagerfeuer. This is they call it. He was the Lagerfeuer, because they were looking for me, and somehow I was safe. I could say nothing bad happened to me. Look, I was dying, but never mind. So she did come to see me, and she said, I'll be all right very soon. I'll come to the lagers back, because my leg was getting better.
Was it still very torn?
Yeah.
Who cleaned it? Who?
Well, after the war, I went to sanatorium.
Well, no, we're still in there, and it's still
now.
The war has ended.
Yeah.
You're in the bunker.
Yes.
How did you decide to leave the bunker?
No, the people that it was too long already, they said something is unusual. We have to. We didn't hear any boom, boom, explosion, because what happened all around the lager, they had the anti plane, anti-craft. So they were, exploding, so you could hear it. Something was very unusual. It was never too long. The plane came in and they left. It was within 2 hours, 3 hours the most that the bombardment lasted. And so people were going out slowly, came in, and we saw different people coming in, and no German were in the camp. So where do you think we ran? We went to the canteen, we went to where they kept the food and where they kept the clothing, and we ran, and of course I couldn't run with my foot so much. And then, UNRWA came in, and they organized that those who needs to go to a hospital. I went to a sanatorium, to recuperate, and there we had such a wonderful food, and we felt so safe. It was wonderful, and there the children they were collected, and we were supposed to go to Palestine. Those healthy ones and those who were not well, but they took us. I don't know, with a train or with something, with the trucks. We went to Danzig. Danzig is it's on the border, Poland and Germany, and there was a big hotel. This I have to tell you about this story. A big hotel that they were collecting all the children, and quite a few, and I was one of them, and a young American merchant marine officer came in to look. He was Jewish, The whole ship came in, and I don't know what they brought there to that place. But he found out that there are children, and they are going to be taken to an orphanage. And everybody was dancing her, and I was sitting. And he came in towards me. I have to show you the picture. And he led me, and he told me that his mother is going to take care of me. She's going to write letters. And I'll be all right. He said he lives in New York. And he went to director, and he spoke to the rabbi and to the director that what could happen. So the director said, you just have to follow, wherever we're going to be, you just have to follow. We cannot allow her to go now. Okay, and this is, I didn't see him no more. We went to, the trucks came in and took us to each orphanage. There were quite a few. And we were waiting, and we had to be protected by the Haganah, because we went, especially when the holidays came in, Passover, we had to be very careful. And I remember we stayed there, we had teachers teaching us Hebrew, and we had good food, and we were inside, we had many friends. All my friends went to Palestine. They wanted to go to Palestine, but unfortunately, the British did not permit them. They had to go to Cyprus. And those with the weak, whatever they had, a bad leg or something, they had to remain. I was waiting, and we had to go one night to border Poland and Czechoslovakia. Somebody brought a young boy. His name is Edward Rosenblatt, that we have to, while we are crossing the border, Poland, Czechoslovakia, then later on we are going to go to France. And from France, we're going to wait to go to Palestine. We are going to bring a young boy, maybe 4 years old, to his mother. His mother gave this little boy to a farmer. We collected him, and we're going to bring him. This boy clung to me, so I play with him, I hold him, and the director said that I am responsible for the boy. Well, at the night, it was winter, I remember, we received the word that we have to cross the border through the mountains, and we are not allowed to say one word, because on both sides, when there is a snow, you could hear it, and there will be, we'll see on the left, on the right, we see the soldiers with the guns. We're not allowed to say a word. Finally, everybody's going, and this little boy, I'm going with him, falling into the snow. It was fun. Could you imagine laughing and crying at the same time without tears? All of a sudden, I'm halfway. It was like, the border was like, let's say, like 2 avenues, big avenues, but it was like going to a death. All of a sudden, this little boy, Edward, said he has to make. And I couldn't whisper, I couldn't yell, wait for me, no. I had to undress him, he had to make and fix it up. And meantime, the group went already quite far, and I remained with the boy. And I had to smile to him in my heart, and but never mind, run, how could you run in a big snow that you fall in and go in? What?
Your leg?
No, my leg was not, my leg was much better, but I had a bandage, I had the boots, special boots. My leg was already strong. My leg did not grow for 1 year. I have 1 year younger and 1 year older leg. So I have to, yes, and I was falling down. But when you have to do something so powerful, you forget about anything, you just go. Finally, when I came in, they were waiting for me. Everybody was lying down already, eating. I dropped, I said, I'm not taking care of nobody anymore. And this little boy, he wants me. We lie down, we had good food, we had, in Czechoslovakia, we were about 6 months in the camp until the winter supposed to be over. It was about half an hour from Prague. So what happened, of course, everybody wanted to go to see Prague and everything. So I said to my teacher, my daughter, please, can I go? You could go only when the baby goes to sleep. So all my friends, he said, never mind, leave him, we're going. And a gentleman came in from Prague and he took us by car and we were running. Where do you think we went? Of course we went to the synagogue, the most beautiful synagogue. But we wanted to eat. Because whatever you have, Prague was the most cleanest. It was a big avenues and the people were so nice. And we went to a cafe and we were eating. People were looking at us. We said, never mind. Because the whole jar they brought us, we were eating. It was so funny. We were free. It was so wonderful. We had to go back. He took us back. He said, next time we'll take you, we'll show you the whole Prague, not only the synagogue and the cafe, we show you everything. But when I came, I was not permitted to go no more because I had to take up the baby. It was about, for half a year, we had many people were there, not only us, many groups were waiting. Then we had to go on a train to France. And this little boy, we had to drag him to Paris, for his mother was waiting for him. And I was telling the little boy that his mother is going to wait for him. Mother? I said, yes, you have a mother and all the toys you're going to get, so much food. He was so chubby. I show you the picture. He was so chubby. He only wanted to eat. Finally, we came into Paris. The train stopped and the mother came in. And for no one in the world, he doesn't want to go. She's a stranger. I said, I'll go with him. The director permitted me to go and I went with Edward, with his mother to his house, and there were so many toys, and everybody was waiting for me. I said, oh, you celebration, you have a wonderful time. Okay, darling, I'll see you tomorrow. He grabbed me, he said, no. I took him back again. And it took me three times to go in, through 3 trips. Finally, they said, the train manager said, no, we cannot wait anymore. You have to leave him. I left him. And this is I have never seen him. I know his name. I'm sure he's in Paris. I was many times in Paris. But I don't know, because I don't know to tell him about these things. He was such a child, and I didn't want to disturb his mother. So we went with the train many hours. We came to each group separated. They went to different places. We went to Chateau Rothschild on the border of Spain and France. It's like Bordeaux, not far from Bordeaux, big city from Bordeaux. It was such a beautiful house, and everybody had a room, but we had to be together, 4 girls in 1 room. And of course we studied Hebrew, and everybody was prepared to go to Palestine. So these, my friends, half of them, they had to go, and they could not go to Palestine because with the British. And they had to stay in Cyprus. And then what happened, this lady, my brothers, I call him a brother, she was writing to each organization looking for me. So every time she wrote a letter, we moved. I think she found me in Czechoslovakia in the camp, and she sent me a package with food and some, I don't remember what. And then, you know, we had to be registered. And then when we went to that Bordeaux place, she sent me package, a big package with lollipops. Then what did I do? I gave everybody a lick of lollipop, and then I didn't have any. So when we went to the dining room to eat, so they asked me, what color of the lollipop do you have? I said, I don't have it. So I had to stick my tongue, and everyone gave me maybe 200 lollipops. My tongue was like the cow that licked me. It was blisters. I did not want to eat the lollipop until I came here to this country. It was unbelievable. We shared everything. We were so close, we shared everything. Finally, I received a very important paper that I have to come to Paris, and I have to wait. I am going to go to America. I said, oh my, I forgot about this, you know, this young gentleman, officer and gentleman, I forgot about him. And a lady was writing to me. I did not understand English. Somebody translated to me that they were waiting for me and I should come to New York. New York is so big and they would take care of my leg here. I would not suffer anymore. I said hello, goodbye to all my friends and I went to Paris. In Paris, there was Elena Kichler. She was a very important person. She wrote a book, My 100 Children. It's in Israel. She's, unfortunately, I found out on television that she passed away, but I did see her when I went to Israel. I went to Israel maybe 30 times to see all my friends. And I was waiting in Paris, wonderful time, and I supposed to go to the consulate to be examined. I fell down, I hurt myself, I had to go to the children's hospital. So for a few months I couldn't go to the United States because of my leg again.
Where did you fall down?
The stairs we were running and this. We had games that we were surrounded by a fence. And near Paris, it's a suburb of Paris, half an hour from Paris. And we used to play that whoever could get out from that fence and go around it and come back, he would be the winner, something like this. So we did such a, we were only playing about war, about scary things. Oh my God. Then, you know, the lady that came to visit me, she brought me the pickles to the hospital and a piece of chocolate. We received, every Friday we received a piece of chocolate, hard like a rock, that with the hammer you could get it. You know, we didn't have much to eat, but we never had milk, but we had a lot of bread and orange marmalade, which we loved it, and we held it so long, because it was right after the war, we didn't have much. And I came out from the hospital, and the lady came in from America. She says, you have to go to the consulate because your papers are ready and you have to go. So I went for the examination. In those years, you had to go to be, my lungs are clear. My leg didn't look so good. I had scars, you know, this and that. But somehow I passed. I passed the test, and the lady came in. She will be my shift mother. Very nice lady. She took me. I had a doll that I received a long time ago with a small luggage and this. And we had to go on a train. We had to go to Cannes, you know, and there we had to wait for a boat. Big ship came in, and then on the ship, I think about 11 days we had to come. The lady, my ship mother, she took care of me, and everybody in the they were so sick. I was the only one in the dining room eating. and it was 11 days. Finally, I received a telegram from this lady that I'm calling her mother, that welcome, and I didn't understand. Mama, I understood. I said, oh my God, what I'm doing here, Well, you know, before Dr. Weinberg and his wife were writing to me, they don't have children, they want me, and blah, blah, blah. And here, I said, what have I done? I cannot go. I was so upset on the ship. I said, how can I be alive here? No, I have to be with my friends. I was miserable. Finally, they docked. The boat docked. It was June 7th. It was the hottest day in New York. The doctor came on the boat to greet me, and he spoke German to me, and I understood, and I was clinging, a stranger, but he's nice. And then as I was going down from the boat, I didn't recognize the young officer, and I see a lady and a girl and the officer, and they're waiting. There was a fence, and I come in and I just collapsed. They were greeting me, and she spoke Yiddish to me, and she glad me. I did not know how to go out of that fence. And finally they took me to the apartment on the east side. I was throwing up. I was so sick because I was eating on the boat, you know, I'm not used to. And I developed high fever, and I was so sick. A doctor came in to examine me, and he told this lady that I have to go to the country. I cannot be here. I have to. She took me to the mountains, and there I relaxed a little bit. Then Dr. Weinberg and Mrs. Weinberg, I struggled when I came to the United States. You have no idea. Now, I was with Mr. and Mrs. Schickman in her apartment. Then for the weekend, I went to Dr. and Mrs. Weinberg uptown on the west side. When I went Friday after school, I went, the bathtub was ready for me, and I jumped in, and she took care of me like when I needed that, you see. When I was in Mrs. Schickman's house, she went to work. I was all by myself, which I could not tolerate. So I was completely broken up. I went to HIAS, the organization, and I said that I have to go back. I cannot stay here. So they said, why? I said, because I left here and I don't know what to do. I was completely torn apart. First of all, I was afraid to be alone at home. Then what happened, I met a friend of mine in the school. She was a French girl. She was waiting. There were a few homes in France. She was waiting to come to her mother. Her name is Sonia. Her mother left before the war to visit her grandmother, and the war, she couldn't come back. So she and I, we became so close, you know, after all, we found each other, and she says to me, you know what, this is not my mother, and this is not your true mother. I said, yes, but they're so nice. I said, Sonia, your mother you look like this, I don't look like them, but this is your true blood mother. Oh, no, I cannot have it, I have another. So she and I, we went, I used to babysit, and I used to get passes, arcade. We went to the movie, and we got pickles, we were chunking the pickles, we were seeing the movies, double features. This was our recuperation time, and this was our English speaking. We saw all the movies, Esther William with the Johnson, such a beautiful color. It was musical. It was Dana O'Connell. It was wonderful. We loved it. This was our medicine. And when I came to my apartment, when my mother came in with the father, my brother always traveled. He was still working. I met my sister, very sweet girl and everything. She got married right away. She met a guy, she got married. So I was all by myself. And my girlfriend, we had a language. She told her mother she's going to me. And I said, oh, I have to go to Sonia. And we went to the movie. This was our therapy. One day, I was walking from school, and I saw a little boy and Montgomery Clift, The Search. I said, oh my God, I have to go to this movie. I went to the movie, and I stayed day, over and over. That was how he was looking for his mother and this and this. And I came in home, I was crying, and I couldn't talk to them. And this lady said, I call her mother because she was a mother. And Mrs. Weinberg, I didn't call her anything, you know. Dr. Weinberg, I call him governor. It was unacceptable. And I finally told her that I went to the movie. I said, I have to sleep with you. So I slept with her in bed, and Papa went to sleep on my bed. And I became very close with my mother. My sister, however, they were never close. I demand to because I am a person that all good people are my family. So my mother and I, we became very, very close. I slept with her. I said, I'm afraid I have to sleep with you. And we had to hold each other. And she came from Poland when she was a child. So she had an understanding with me. She was in the World War I. So I said, Ma, you could never compare any kind of war. This is a war that it will never repeat itself, and we shall never forget it. And there is everyone that has a story to tell. And somehow, even in hiding, you're afraid. So, but somehow, I said, Mama, you have to hold me. She said, I don't know how to. I said, I'll teach you. And I was holding her, we're kissing each other. She lives in Florida. I'm very, very close with him. And I'm very close with my brother and his family. Unfortunately, he gets very depressed that he has to get medication. And yesterday he came out from the hospital, and I was holding him, and I reminded him, I said, remember in 1946 how strong you were, how you took care of me, how you glad me, and you told me that I should eat the duck. I said, I don't want to eat the duck, the geese were used to running after me. And I said, you have to be strong, Saul. And his wife came in a wheelchair. And it was, we had a beautiful, beautiful Mother's Day. My son, of course, was there, my husband. But I have to tell you that I had a very difficult, many, many years in the United States. Many, many. I could not acclimate myself here because I had two families. I loved to be, I was like a baby there. I was being washed and I was being this, and they spoke the Russian to me, Dr. Weinberg and Mrs. Weinberg. They took me to their friends, and I did look like Mrs. Weinberg. And she was holding me, and I loved it. I am a very emotional person. I need cuddling, and what do you think I do it now? I go at least twice a week to old age home, to the Bialystoke, and I see people who are getting old, natural causes, they are dying. And to me, they are like my family. I love them. They give me so much love. I give them their love. Tomorrow I'll be there. I miss them already. Now, about my husband, how I met my husband was also very interesting. I went on 4th of July weekend. My mother, her relatives came in, Holocaust survivors. I said, oh, I have to meet them, we had to go. So we went near Atlantic City called Vineland, New Jersey. All the newcomers, the DP person, the dispersed person, they received farms, chicken farms. They didn't have to speak English, so my husband's parents received the farm, and my family came in there too. So I said, okay, we're going to go there. And it was 4th of July weekend. They had a young daughter like myself. We went on a lake and on a rowing boat. And while we were rowing, there were two young fellows. And all of a sudden, I hear they're talking different language, not English. I was shocked. I said, I didn't hear this language for such a long time. My husband, he spoke Polish. And somehow my ear became so affected. But we were going, and they were going after us, and then we had to go home. This young fellow found out, and he came to meet us. He introduced himself. Naturally, the people that live on the farm knew his parents, and this is how I met my husband, very romantic, on the lake. And his parents, his mother, she and I, we became like two girlfriends, inseparated. When she passed away, I suffered. So for the first time, I lost a person that I was close, and I realized what a death meant, a normal death. Before, what is that? People are falling down, it's nothing. But this is, I knew the person, and she was sick, and she had to close her eyes. This is forever. My husband and I, for 1 year, we suffered, we struggled. Then his father lived for many, many years. Wonderful person, I was so close with him. He was 94 years old. First he lived with his other son, the oldest son, and then when we built the house, he came to live with us. He was holding me. I took such a good care of him. We were so close. And he passed away in I spoke to him, I said, Papa, when you close your eyes, please don't let me cry, let me not suffer like I suffered when Mama passed away. He said, no, you wouldn't. I said, Papa, please, do you believe in God? So he said, they said there is a God. I said, no, please, you have to believe in heaven. Oh, my God, my God.
On May 15th, 1995.
So you told your father, your husband's father, he had to believe in God.
What
You
was?
told him he had to believe in God.
Yes, I said, Papa, because he prayed. He had a good background, Jewish background, a religious background, and you know what? He did not allow. We had a girl to take care of the house. We had a big house. We had a little doggy, but he only wanted me. And I said, Papa, you know, you have people, can I go out a little bit? I'm going out. I have to go to school. Oh, what for do you have to go to school? I said, I have to take few classes. I went in and I needed. I took psychology just to relieve myself. And all my writing were about Papa and me, you know, this and that. And then finally, Saturday morning, Papa didn't feel so good. He was 94. I said, Papa, I will take you to the hospital. My son and I, my husband had a meeting. We took him to the hospital in West Nyack. And I said, Papa, don't worry, your son will come in and we'll take you up tomorrow. He said, remember, Mother's Day, I'm taking you out for dinner. I said, yes, Papa, you take me every time, Mother's Day. And we came home, my son and I, we came home. My husband came in, very, very tired, because from New York, it's a big trip. I said, Booby, I call him Booby. I said, Lovushka, we have to go visit Papa. Oh, I just came in. I said, no, no, no. This time it's very important that you have to be there. Come. We went in, and Papa was slowly, slowly going into coma. But he still made, he remembered my husband. We're holding each other's hand. And I said, Papa, remember, tomorrow is Mother's Day. Come on, come on. And we stayed there half a night. And then the nurse came in and she said, well, why don't you go home? It's only half an hour. If something happened, we'll call you. While we were driving home, the nurse called and my son picked up the telephone. And the nurse said, you know, your grandfather just passed away. When your parents come in, please tell them that they should. No, we came in and my son said, oh, Mommy, Daddy Zayda. He called him Zayda. He just closed his eyes. And my husband and I, we held each other. And my husband said, thank you for forcing me to go, because I said, I had a feeling that you have to see your father yet alive. We had to call my husband's brother, who was very, very sick. He was sick for 11 years. He didn't have a heart and this and this. I said, you know what, we have to be very gentle. We have to tell him somehow that he said, let me call him. I called him, I said, you know what, Papa is not feeling good. It's better that you should come to us to the house, come on in, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, they came in, and they looked at us and looked at us. Where is Papa? I said, he's in the hospital. I don't think he's going to make it. But we will come have coffee, have something, because you came in without any food. We go right away. So they looked at us. They said, what happened? I said, well, Papa closed his eyes already. So then we arranged for the funeral. We have yesterday, we always go on holidays, we always go to the cemetery. It's a beautiful cemetery in Long Island. I always say to my son that when I close my eyes, he is not allowed to cry, because I had a beautiful life, and I am going to be somewhere there and praying for him that he should have a good life. I said, remember, do not cry for me. He said, Mommy, you're crazy. Of course I have to cry for you. I cry just a little bit, I said. But remember, I lived beautiful, and it's a miracle that I'm here. I mean, how many years can I live? I mean, it's a miracle that God gives me the time to have you. But I would love to be a grandmother. I said to him, he has beautiful girls all the time. I told him, I don't want ever to meet your girlfriend, because I get so, attached to her. I fall in love. And then, when I said, how is Betsy? Oh, she's not in anymore. I said, what? So from now on, I said, when you get married, let me know. I come to your wedding. That's it.
So where did you go to? Did you go to school?
Yes, I finished high school here, and I went to nursing school. That was my desire to to be with people, with sick people. It was a very difficult job for me because in those years the people came in from Europe and they were not well. And when they found out I speak their language, they clinged to me. And I could not just let them hang there, so I had to be there devoted and everything. When I got married, my husband said, "You're not going to work too much." I said, "Let me work." No. When my son was born, of course I didn't go to work. I was with his parents and with my son. But something happened to me that it completely destroyed me. My son was born, I loved it, but I realized what a mother is for the first time. I became very weak, and I said, "Oh my God, I wanted to see would my mother be doing what I'm doing? Would she would be sitting with me all night?" When my son had a nightmare, I jump in and I stay with him. I said, "You had a bad dream, and this, and what would you like to have to eat?" And I took him here, and I took him ice skating, I took him swimming, I took him to the best movies, and he went to the best school, a Jewish school, of course he went. And I said, "You have to eat the banana, it's the most healthiest things." I ran up to him, "Oh, mommy, you're feeding me so." I said, "You know what? When you have good food, you'll be strong. When you'll be a teenager, you'll be alive. Your teeth will be strong. And your mental attitude, you could be just wonderful." So he said, "Mommy, but don't try to feed me. You know, I am not in the war. The war is over." I said, "You're right, please forgive me." Okay, so I put all the food in the center of the table, and you eat by yourself, but try to finish everything. And you know what, till this day when I'm eating, even let it be a baked potato and herring, we're eating. And my husband is eating so fast whenever we go with our friends to a restaurant. So I whisper to him, "Please, Bobby, try not to eat." I hold him by the foot, so he looks at me, "Oh, I'm going to eat." And you know, all my friends, you know, I said, "Try to boop, 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 boop." And I'm eating so slow. Even he takes, I said, "Okay, in the house," he takes the soup.
You must be a good cook.
Yes, but right now I'm making my husband developed diabetics, so in the evening it's the most important thing. I have to count carbohydrate and so on. So we eat a very light supper, vegetables and salad. I love salad. I'm a salad eater. And my son says to me, "Mommy, you know what? You gave me such a good dishes, and salad had to be salad, squeezed orange juice. I knew you squeezed maybe 5 oranges, make believe it was only one." But he said, "When I eat pasta, I have to have salad." My son eats very well. He's wonderful. He's a good cook. Once he invited me for dinner. He doesn't live with us, thank God. If I would have my son and my husband, I would run away. When he finished his school, his university, he brought me laundry. Okay, the few months he brought me laundry. I said, "Well, you bringing me laundry? I mean, don't you have laundry in your school?" He said, "Yes." So you know what I did? I put so much powder and I folded now, and he always play football. What do you call this? Every game. What is a very dangerous game? You
Rugby?
know? No. It's at this moment I forgot. He's a hockey player. He's everything. He's skier, water skiing, all these things. So he had to run. He underwear and the foam from the laundry. He was perspiring. People are looking. What is this? And then he said to me, "Mommy, you put so much laundry powder." I said, "Okay, next time I don't put it." Then he brought me, jeans and all these things. I put everything together. The colors became in. So he said, Mommy, you know what, I cannot bring the laundry anymore. I said, find somebody in the university, maybe they'll do better laundry than I do. My husband said, what do you mean your mother should? I said, I did everything for him, that's it. So he never brought me laundry anymore. But he called me up, he said, Mommy, can I bring 2 people for dinner? I said, go ahead, bring it. We used to have, the kitchen was like the whole apartment. So he brought about 10 people. And he told his friends, oh, my mother speaks so different. My mother is not like your mother, you'll say. And I knew my son already. He used to call me witch. Mommy, how do you know everything, what I am thinking, what I'm doing? I prepared the food for them, salad, like for the army, everything for the army. But I didn't say not one word. So, Mommy, speak up, speak up. I said like, then finally when they were leaving, I said, all right, boys, goodbye, goodbye. He said, Mommy, you didn't speak all evening. I said, well, I knew what you wanted me to talk. You know, you interrupt me, and you know you always imitate me, and you know I don't speak like this. I speak very nicely, that's all.
Why do you think you survived all of this?
What did I think? It is a big puzzlement. I believe that I survive to tell people that that somehow there are good people in the world, and I wanted to be alive. I just wanted to be alive. I wanted to tell somebody, here I am, and no, I just wanted to be alive, and I wanted to shout that here I am. And each time I have something unhappy, of course I get upset. Then I realize, I said, no, I gave myself a promise. I'm not allowed to be unhappy. I have to be positive. I have to have faith and hope, and today, this afternoon, is going to be good. That's it. And when my husband will tell you probably quite a few things. Life is not easy. Life is very difficult, very difficult. And somehow, but for me, I am here. I cannot disappoint whoever is up there, gave me the life. I have to be thinking, and I have to be appreciative for every little things. Every time I eat, I licked my lips. And when I drink the milk, I look at my brownie with the neck. Oh, how I love it. I have to go to a farm to see a few cows.
Thank you. Thank you for this interview.
Silly, but... The picture on the left is when I was coming down from the boat, and on the right, the family of the Schickman family was greeting me, my brother, my sister, and my mother. And here I came out already from the boat on the left, and on the right, Dr. Weinberg did come to the boat to help me understand that I am already free and I could come. And I'm on the bottom, on the left, I'm thanking him. He spoke the German to me.
Talk about the newspaper.
Of course, many newspaper reporters came in and were flashing and taking pictures. This is a picture that was in the newspaper. Which newspaper? I think it's a daily. Daily news. Many papers came in. I don't have all of them, but this is coming. This picture is when I already came down from the boat. This is Mrs. Schickman and Renee, and my brother is greeting me. I don't know how I'm going to go over the fence, but they are giving me the clues that it's all right, I could come out. And this is my officer and gentleman who have found me and who, as a young fellow, spoke to his mother, and this is how I came to the United States. I love him very dearly. And
His name?
His name is Solomon Schickman, and I wish him all the best. He's not feeling well. His wife, unfortunately, has the MS, for many years already, but we are so close. Yesterday, Mother's Day, we celebrated with him and his wife and the children.
What year are these pictures from?
1946. Right after the war, 1946. And this is the family that I stay with them. This is my father, who is not alive anymore. He was killed in an accident. My Renee, my sister, my mother, who I'm very, very close with her, like two sisters. And my brother, of course, I will always wish him well and thank him.
What year is this picture?
This picture, 1949. This picture is 1949. In the summertime, in the country. 1949, in the mountains, in the Monticello Mountains, yeah. And this is Dr. Weinberg and Mrs. Weinberg. Dr. Weinberg I used to call the governor. Mrs. Weinberg I didn't call anything, but I love them very dearly. They are not alive. Every weekend I was their baby, and they were waiting for me and treated me just like a baby that came from the crib. And I loved it.
What year is that?
1950. And this is my birthday party, a surprise party. Dr. and Mrs. Weinberg gave it to me, and I received a Siamese kitten to take care of it, and I loved it. And the year probably it's 1950. 51. And this is my graduation. My mother's with me. I'm receiving diploma, and this was a very happy moment of my life. This was 1951. This is me in my nursing uniform, 1953. I was very happy taking care of all the people that took care of me in different place and different time. This is my repayment too. And this is me right after graduation of high school in 1951. I can't recognize myself, but I love it. And this is my little boy. I think it was 1947 that I had to go through the border in Czechoslovakia, and I had to take him to his mother. Edward, you live in Paris, I don't know you. But I do remember what we went through. Remember in the snow. Yes, 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 your mother probably remembers me. I hope to see you someday, although I do come to Paris quite often. I have to look you up.
What's his last name?
Edward Rosenblatt. And this is my son in 1995, my life, my Schmutzki, I love you, and please do get married. I want to be a grandmother and take care of your baby. Do I take care of you? Please, darling, I love you. And thanks for the Mother's Day gift. You did a wonderful job. Thank you.
How old is
He was just 30. 3-0. Yes, you told me you're getting old. He's a good boy.